Welcome to a sports betting podcast from pregame.com for the week of November 19th, 2009. I'm your host, RJ Bell. I'm joined by Marco D'Angelo, 30 years in the business with a 20-year-old hat, and Vegas runner, genuine professional bettor here in Vegas with a
about 4 or 5.
I was going to say 40.
Oh, no.
Year-old hat. This is segment 2 of 6, big game preview, college football, LSU, Mississippi. Vegas runner, what's the line?
All right, this one opened up Mississippi as a minus 3.5 point home favorite with a total of 42. As of this morning, they are minus 4 and 42.5. So just a small amount of money on the favorite.
Okay, and all line moves are not created equal.
That's the
a move from 3.5 to 4 is much less significant than a move from 3.5 to 3
Absolutely.
onto a key number. Boy, this is a great example of how Vegas just is totally indifferent to the polls.
Yep.
On one hand, last week we had Iowa High State. Now, it was an injury situation,
right,
but still, double-digit, 17 points or whatever it was. Now, here you got this Mississippi team who started the year in the top 10, has had a hugely disappointing year. Now they're at home, and really Vegas is saying that Mississippi's a little bit better.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're saying.
All right, Marco, so as a handicapper, what's the one factor that really jumps out at you in this game?
Well, what jumped out to me is this is a huge revenge game for LSU. They got drilled last year, 31-13 at home. But the point I want to make about that game is it was late in the season, and LSU's season had just unraveled at the end of last year. And Mississippi, I think, took advantage of a team that, in my opinion, last year threw the towel in at the end of the season.
They held them to 30-something yards rushing. They totally annihilated them.
So let's think about this a second, though. One of the things you talk about a lot is misleading finals. Is you can look at a score and say this either because statistically, a team, let's say, had 4 turnovers, had a bunch of yards, and they got beat. That's a type of misleading final. Another type is there was a scheduling situation or a motivational situation that either made one of the teams play poorly or one of the teams play a lot better. And then, so there's all these ways where the final can be misleading. But what's the significance? When we talk about revenge, it's usually about the motivation of the team that was beat, right? So if a team got beat, especially by a team they don't think should beat them, they're going to be extra motivated to play well the next, remember last year kind of thing. So the fact that it might have been misleading last year that Mississippi put a whooping on LSU, how does that affect the revenge factor?
Well, to me, for the LSU team, as I'm looking at it, they threw the towel in last year. So they had a poor game, and this year they're going to make amends for it. I leaned LSU in the game.
But it increases the motivation because they think that wasn't representative of what we really are, and they're going to see what we really are this year.
Absolutely, and they did it on their home field. I mean, everybody knows how tough it is to win, at LSU, and I don't know if it was a night game last year or not. I didn't look that up. But the other point of it is, if Mississippi went into LSU last year and put that kind of whooping on them, and Mississippi came into this year ranked, like we said, there was high expectations on Mississippi, why then is the line only 3.5? Why did it only open 3.5 in this game?
Wait a minute. You're saying you think the line's short?
For
you have a team. I mean, what's LSU ranked?
LSU's ranked number 10 in the AP, 10 in the USA Today.
And Mississippi's unranked?
Not ranked.
And they're a home favorite of 4 points. You think the line's short?
Based on last year, the way these two teams come in. LSU's playing well.
No. You started mumbling. So anyway, what are you trying to say here? If anything, you look at this line and say, Jesus, it's high. Is Vegas is telling you we think Mississippi's better than you think?
Well, that's what Vegas is saying. I'm not.
Oh, no, which is fine, but you can't. What did you put this number at when you were thinking about it?
I know that the line came, that last week they played a Tennessee team that had some suspensions last week. So that score's a little bit misleading. But that was Mississippi's best game of the year. And they did it on TV.
They were favored in that game. They were like 6.5, right?
They won 42-17.
Right, so one good performance. So again, he's like on the stand not wanting to tell the answer. What did you make this number?
I had the number at 5 in this game.
Wow. All right, VR, what is the one factor? So you like Mississippi?
The fact that it's low, I do it the other way out. The fact that it came out at 3.5, where to me is just over the field goal. It's just basically overpick the winner. It's making me like the dog in the game.
All right, so and the thing is, we get a lot in VR. You're not getting to talk a lot here.
That's all right. I'm listening.
Just deal with it.
I'm listening.
All right, we're going to talk a lot with you, no doubt about it. All right, so for new watchers and listeners, and we get that all the time, is new people. Explain in 60 seconds. You're saying you made the number 5. The number comes out at 3.5, which makes you think, wow, you like the favorite. You're saying it makes you like the dog. That seems counterintuitive. Explain it.
Well, it is, and it's hard to explain to most people, but this is the way I've made a living doing this 30 years. The Vegas line is a number that wants to get equal betting. When they shade it a certain way, they're trying to tip the scale to entice people what they think they need to do to balance the books. And when they do that, I go the other way because I want to be on the other side of that.
Because you think this line is saying we want LSU action.
No,
excuse me, we want Mississippi action.
Right.
But though I don't really feel in sync with your approach a lot, the fact that you are a long-term winner, it makes me respect it. But it seems to me when you have a road team that's in the top 10 in the nation getting points, it seems like they want LSU action, which makes you like, it would seem like they want LSU action here. If anyone that's just a USA Today type handicapper says top 10 team, unranked team, I'm getting more than a field goal. So, do you really think that the line is saying we want Mississippi action?
Again, I factor in last year's scores whenever I do my stuff. If a team can go on the road last year and kill a team, and then they're supposed to have come into this year as a better team because of the people they brought back, it's the people they had last year that whooped this team, that goes into my thinking process.
All right, VR, we're actually got about 2.5 minutes.
Real quick,
what's the factors here?
My factor is I think Mississippi's the extremely underrated team coming in. I went back and looked what would this line be back in June, July, and they had Mississippi minus 3.5 back then. And if you remember coming into the season, Mississippi was supposed to be one of the top 3 teams in the nation, and it was 3.5.
Real quick, we get this question all the time, and I'm sorry, but it's a good point. Is when you're talking about these early lines, it was the lines they put on the marquee games in
before
the summer,
the season even begins,
and you just logged all those, and that's what you quote
exactly.
Now. But these lines aren't because
they're not. I'm sorry, they're not available anymore. You have up until the season begins.
So usually this is they pick a bunch of marquee games. In the NFL, they pick all the games. Right. They put a line out, and you're saying the perception as of July versus the perception now.
That's what I like to look back at and see if it supports it. And I don't think it does. I think this Mississippi team's extremely underrated. Odds Makers poll has them at 15, only 4 spots below LSU. So to me, I thought this line's a bargain for Mississippi. I think it might go even higher, but the betting public is going to take LSU. That I'm sure of. The Dogs 8-1 in this series. The other thing about LSU, can't forget, this team's 0-9 in November against the spread, so they never do good at the end of the season when the pressure's on. And I think now 8-2 going up against 7-3. There's a lot of positives here for Mississippi. This LSU offense can't score. Both these teams got it done with defense. The advantage Mississippi has is they can score. They're 28th in scoring offense, while LSU's 74th. They can't score points. They won't get it done on the road.
Now that was a concise presentation. So strong lean to?
Yes, sir. Mississippi -4.
And Marco?
LSU plus the 4.
All right. Any bets between you two? Want to put quick?
I'll take it. I'll take a dime. I like Mississippi. I'll give you
a dime. You want a dime?
Honestly,
well, the standard on the show has been a nickel.
I'll go nickel. I'll give you 6. I'll give you 6 points because you're my boy. They'll cover a touchdown. They're gonna cover.
What kind of wise guy gives 2 free? The line's 4.
4 it is.
All right, 4 it is.
4 it is.
All right.
You know me. I like to make my own handicap.
All right, good stuff.
Because what kind of wise guy?
All right, next up is going to be another college game in the Pac-10 we're going to preview. And remember, you can get all of our videos at pregame.tv, or if you want to download and listen, just go to iTunes and search for pregame.com.